We have the Titan leg extension leg curl machine for review today. And before we even unbox this product, there's a couple things that I want to point out. One, this arrived very quickly. I purchased this on Friday, April 1st, and it arrived on Monday, April 4th, which is blazing fast when it comes to a specialty piece of equipment that is very heavy. Two, something that I thought I would never say about a Titan piece of equipment, this packing job is immaculate. There's no damage on this box. Everything looks good. The straps are even taped down so that they won't come off. This is an amazing shipping job. So I'm hopeful that when I get in here, there's gonna be absolutely no damage, which is something that I have experienced in the past. Now let's get into the unboxing. Ooh, baby, that's a lot of pieces. Okay, so we've got a really good packing job. I don't suspect that there's going to be any damage to any part of this. That is a welcome sight. Good job, Titan, stepping up your game. Back pad, grippy vinyl, good. So with these welds, Titan a lot of times has pretty bad welds. Looks like they've done a better job with the version 2 on these welds. They're not the most absolute beautiful welds I've ever seen, but they look pretty good. There's a lot of the powder coat that's just like loose inside of this thing. You can actually hear it sliding around in there, making it rain. Our handles, or one of our handles, feels pretty good. Our other handle, I've actually got a little spring collar here to hold the weights on. I don't know if that's going to be necessary, but if you're loading plates all the way out to the very end, it might become necessary. So it's good that they included one there. Hardware. So there was a whole extra box just for the little leg roller piece. I'm not really sure why, but I mean, hey, I'm not complaining. It's nice and protected. There's not a single piece in here that I've at least noticed that has had any damage to it whatsoever. Everything's in perfect condition. So what I'm gonna do is I'm going to put a timer on and I'm going to see how long it takes to assemble this machine. We've got it all put together. It took about 45 minutes to put together. It was pretty simple. The instructions were mostly clear. The only thing that threw me off and set me back by about 10 or 15 minutes is the fact that the instructions are actually for the version 1 leg extension leg curl, and this is the version 2. So there were a couple of steps that were a little bit unclear. It was telling you how to put this little assembly together for this part, whereas there is nothing to put together with the version 2. It's just a little pin that you slide in and put the cotter pin in. So it took me a few minutes to figure out what was going on there. But other than that, it was pretty straightforward. Initial impressions, everything looks pretty good. There are just a couple of tiny little scratches that were from the factory, which isn't really a big deal because this is a piece of workout equipment. It's going to be beat up over time, but initial impressions, very solid, and we'll pass it over to future Ryan with the rest of the review. Getting into the final review, we're going to cover an overview of the machine. Fun fact, this is the first V2 review on YouTube. The V2 is brand new, and when I bought this piece of equipment, the listing didn't even say V2 yet. I actually didn't even know this was an upgraded model until after I already ordered it. We'll talk about where I feel this machine still needs improvement, the price, and finally, would I recommend this piece of equipment? And if so, who would I recommend it to? Overview. Once you have all your home gym staples covered and start getting into specialty equipment, I feel like a leg extension leg curl machine is the natural first choice for a lot of people because it allows you to hit the quads and hamstrings more effectively in less time than when using a DIY workaround. This machine is relatively small at 42 inches wide, 36 inches deep, 39 inches tall, and there's 10 inches of loadable space on the weight horn. It weighs 108 pounds and has a 300-pound weight capacity. There's a weight post in the back and bolt holes in all 4 feet, so you have 2 options for securing the machine when using heavier loads. The machine is really smooth for both leg extensions and leg curls, and actually does an okay job as a seated calf raise machine if you don't already have a dedicated calf machine. One of the features I like a lot about this machine is the fact that the leg roller portion of the machine is kind of independent from the lever arm itself. A lot of machines will just have a leg roller that comes straight out versus having this extra little piece for extra adjustability. And this little piece makes a huge difference because it allows the leg roller to always seem to find the exact right spot on your leg for both leg extensions and leg curls. To adjust from leg extensions to leg curls, simply pull out the quick release pin, adjust the weight arm to the other side of the pin, slot the pin back in, and then you can adjust this to where you want it for your leg curls. And boom, you're set up for leg curls. This brings us to the upgrades that were made from the Titan Fitness leg extension leg curl V1 to the V2. The version 1 had a fixed post right here instead of this quick release pin. So if you wanted to superset your leg extensions and leg curls, you had to pull this pin, pull the weight arm all the way around while it's fully loaded, and then release this pin to be able to do your leg extensions. With the V2, there's the quick release pin versus the permanent pin, which in theory makes it a lot easier to be able to switch from one exercise to the other. I say in theory because the issue is that you still have to pull out the weight far enough to be able to pull the pin and clear the weight that's on the horn, and then pull it the same amount in the other direction, and then try to slot the pin in one-handed to be able to do the other exercise. So there's still a little bit of fumbling there. The reason why this is an issue is because from what I can tell, they used the exact same frame from the V1, and all they did was simply replace the permanent pin with the quick release pin. With a slight redesign, they could permanently fix the issue by simply having it so that the pin slots from the inside, so you're not having to worry about clearing the weight, and that would be a permanent solution. This isn't a big deal though, because honestly I just pulled the pin out on day one and never put it back in, so I didn't have to switch between exercises at all. The vinyl was also upgraded to a very durable feeling and very grippy vinyl with the V2. I don't feel myself slipping in the seat at all during use. And the last small upgrade is purely aesthetic. The blue and red painted Titan logo was replaced with a laser cut logo. I think more and more people are starting to go with a specific color scheme in their home gyms, so having a piece of neutral colored equipment allows it to fit in with most color schemes, and I think it's just a nice little touch that shows Titan is actually listening. But of course it can't be all sunshine and rainbows. Let's talk about the cons. I would love to have seen a stainless or chrome sleeve versus the powder coated sleeve that was also on the version 1. Another small con is I wish the lap roller would raise at least a couple notches higher to make sliding in and out of the machine easier, especially now that they have upgraded to this grippier vinyl. The one big issue that I've not heard any reviewers talk about is the width of the frame itself. The leg that's under the weight sleeve needs to come out as far as the weight sleeve does. This is potentially dangerous if you're strong enough to max out the space on the weight sleeve. I've personally put 230 pounds on for leg extensions, which was 4 45s and 2 25s, and when I got off the machine, I noticed the opposite end of the machine was a couple of inches off the ground. For testing purposes, I maxed out the length of the weight sleeve with as many 45s as I could fit on there, which was 7 standard weight plates for a total of 315 pounds, which is 15 pounds more than the max rated capacity, with only 2 45s on the back weight horn, and it did not flip, but the machine was definitely not stable with this much weight on it. As I mentioned earlier, you can bolt this machine down for added stability, but in my mind, you shouldn't have to. There's literally no reason for the left side of the base to not come out as far as the weight sleeve, because it doesn't increase the footprint of the machine anyway. In reality, the left side of the base could actually come out even a little bit further than the weight sleeve. It doesn't matter that it would increase the footprint a little bit, because you have to have clearance on that side of the machine anyway to be able to load the weight on the machine. Now, honestly, I do not see this machine flipping on anyone as long as you have the back weight horn loaded. But if you are going to do any notable amount of weight, definitely be sure that you do have the back sleeve loaded. The last con isn't actually about the Titan Fitness leg extension leg curl machine specifically, but about plate loaded leg extension leg curl machines as a whole, and that is the effective range of motion. Here's a free physics lesson from my engineering days. When we lift weights with a lever arm, that lever arm is called a moment arm. The further away from the vertical force of gravity the moment arm travels, the harder the weight is to lift. This means there's essentially zero resistance at the start of both movements when the weight is hanging straight down. You can see how easily I can move this weight at the bottom of the range of motion with no effort. And again, this isn't the fault of Titan. This is simply a drawback of a plate-loaded lever arm machine. You can slightly improve this by adjusting the machine so that the weight doesn't just hang straight down at the bottom of the movement. But the only way to fully get around this would be to get really fancy with multiple levers, or to use a select rise machine, but then you run into the machine having a larger footprint and being much more expensive. Unfortunately, this is just a category where you can't have it all. Next up, price. The Titan leg extension leg curl machine is normally priced at $699, but is frequently on sale for $629, which is what I paid for it. And actually at the time of recording is still on sale for $629, which I feel is a very fair price for what you're getting. Lastly, the moment of truth, would I recommend the Titan Fitness leg extension leg curl V2? And who would I recommend it for? Despite all the drawbacks that I mentioned earlier, I do feel this machine is a great value for the price, and I would definitely recommend it for home gym owners if you already have all of the basics in place, such as a rack, barbell, dumbbells, and a bench. I might also recommend this machine if you have a small private gym or if you have a personal training studio, if this machine is bolted to the floor. And I definitely would not recommend this piece for a commercial facility. Spend the extra money, get 2 separate dedicated machines, and preferably ones that are selectorized versus plate loaded. The link to purchase this machine is the first link down in the description. It will help the channel if you use that link. And if you want to work with us to achieve your body transformation goals, click the second link down in the description. As always, God bless you and your family, and we'll see you next week. I actually didn't even know this was an upgraded model until after I already ordered it. Settle down up there, you tap dancers.